All right, excellent. Thank you, Jason. Great. So this is the first of our team coaching workshops for the clubs in District 35. Just a little bit of a background on why we're doing this. You know, Toastmasters has a club coaching program, and we've made use of that over the years. I've been the club coach chair for the last year and a half, and especially in these times, it's been rather difficult to get individuals to step up, offer their services as a club coach. And it's also been very difficult to get clubs to recognize that they need a coach. And we don't need to spend a lot of time to why that is. Let's have everyone go on mute, unless you're speaking. So I was talking about the club coaching program, and we're going to try something new where I've got a team of experienced Toastmasters from around the district that have graciously agreed to offer their services and share some of their experience in building up clubs. And so that's what we're going to do here over the next several months in bi-weekly sessions or twice monthly sessions on various topics that I think you'll find very interesting. Our first topic today is on the moments of truth, and we're really fortunate to have Kris Poole as our presenter. So Kris is a distinguished Toastmaster. She is our immediate past district director, and she also serves as an officer in the 3 clubs of which she's a member. She's a treasurer in Cream City Communicators. She's the vice president public relations in Sheboygan Toastmasters, and she's the vice president education and membership at the Plymouth Toastmasters. She's been a member since April of 2005. During that time, she's held every club officer role except sergeant at arms. She's been the editor. She has been the secretary, which we now call the administrator director in E1, club growth director, program quality director, and district director. Avid of pathways. She's working towards her 4th, and this will be her first pathways DTM. She's concurrently working on 5 different paths: presentation mastery for the 2nd time, motivational strategies, strategic relationships, engaging humor, and innovative planning. So she's got a lot of experience with pathways. At the end of September of last year, Kris accepted a new position with the Wisconsin Division of Workforce Development as an employment and training specialist at the Sheboygan County Job Center. She tells me she's definitely putting her Toastmaster skills into practice every day in this new role, and she's loving every minute of it. So tonight, Kris is going to share a little bit about moments of truth, but a different approach. She's going to show us a different way to approach it. And then she's going to go into more detail about what's beyond just the handout material that you might get with moments of truth. So expect the presentation portion of this session to last about a half an hour. And at that time, save up your questions, things you want to talk about, coaches, if you've got some experience that you want to share around moments of truth, or club members, if you have questions about anything pertaining to moments of truth. And that'll just be an open session. At that time, at the end of Kris's formal presentation, I'm going to ask the members if they object to having us record that portion of the session. The first portion certainly will be recorded for club members that haven't been able to attend for tonight. So with that, I'd like to ask Kris Poole to begin her presentation. Let's give her a warm welcome. Kris.
Thank you so much, Keith. I appreciate the introduction and the opportunity to come and present here tonight. we've all heard of moments of truth. At least I hope we have all heard of moments of truth. But I want you to start thinking, do your members look forward to your next Toastmasters meeting? Are most of your guests joining your club? If you've answered no, it's time we need to find out why. Every club gains a new member once in a while, but are those members staying? If not, why not? And if our new members are not staying with the club, we are not meeting their needs. If our members are leaving, we're not meeting their needs. So in order to have our sustained membership growth, we need to make sure that our club is a club that is worth belonging to and that members want to participate and be a part of it. When we start thinking about moments of truth, this is going to be just a snapshot, a brief window of time where we are making an objective look at what we are achieving or potentially not achieving. An example of the first moment of truth experienced by a prospective Toastmaster is when he would walk into a meeting room for the first time. When that happens, is that prospective member, is that guest actually being greeted warmly? Are they being introduced to the members of the club? Are they made to feel welcome? Or are they just saying, hi, I'm here, and they sit in the back of the room, no members go over and talk with them, nobody gives them any information, and then after the club meeting, the guest gets up and leaves, and you never see them again? Is your club successful in a moment of truth on a first impression? Because that is what happens the first time a guest walks into our room. So the moments of truth, this is a module that was put together by Toastmasters International, and it helps us to look at 6 different areas where we could potentially have improvements in our club to make sure that we are giving a good impression overall of our club to our potential members and our current members. We want to make sure that we are maintaining a high standard of excellence in our club programming, in our operation and management of the club, in our member participation, and our community activities. As I'm going through the presentation and talking, start thinking about the different areas in your club that you can think, boom, right away, this is something that needs immediate attention. What are activities that maybe you are already working on for improvement? You have taken prompt action to make some changes, or yeah, we really need to make some changes, but nobody really wants to. Need to work together to see what can be done. For those of you who don't know, we need to be very aware of our moments of truth in these 6 specific areas. We want to make sure that we are offering a positive experience in all of these areas: first impressions, membership orientation, fellowship variety and communication, program planning and meeting organization, membership strength, and achievement recognition. I'm going to go over quick information and give you some ideas to start thinking about as we go through this. All of this first part of the presentation is part of the manual that's available from TI. But by talking about it, and especially if you have not done this at your club, we need to start thinking about this. Our first impressions. What are your guests first experiencing and observing when they come and visit your club? And are those impressions, whatever they may be, are they encouraging them to return? When you look at the materials that TI hands out, there's actually a chart where you have the 6 different categories, and then there are questions regarding that specific category. And I'll show you what that looks like, but these are the different sections within each of the 6 areas. So on first impressions, we're talking about your guests being greeted warmly, introduced to your officers and members. Does your club have a guest book and name tags being provided? Do you have a professionally arranged meeting room? Do you have a convenient meeting location? Do you invite your guests to address the club? And are your guests invited to join? Right now, though, keep in mind that all of this moments of truth was set pre-COVID. So some of these may be a little bit different now because we are virtual. Right now, professionally arranged meeting room. We're not in a meeting room right now, but that is still something to consider when we do go back to in person or if we are starting to meet on hybrid. Our membership orientation. Consider to what degree your club acquaints your new members with the Toastmasters Pathways education program and our recognition system. And what are the members' responsibilities to the club, and what are the club's responsibilities to the member? We need to start thinking about, are we having or offering a formal member induction? Do you give them a membership pin? The manuals, again, this is pre-pathways, but are you giving them the links needed to sign up for your first path, to sign up for your icebreaker? I know some clubs, they used to make their own welcome certificate. Are you assigning a new club mentor specific to a new member? Do you look at the personality styles of your current members and this new member? Do you talk about the education program? What is needed to progress through it? What are the learning needs that are being assessed? Have you discussed any potential accommodations that may be needed if you have members with disabilities? Do you assign speaking roles to that new member right away? And do you get the member involved? And this is actually for all members, involved and continue to be involved in all aspects of your club activity. The third area is the fellowship variety and communication. This is where we want to make sure that the club is offering that warm, friendly, supportive environment that encourages enjoyable learning. This is truly where we focus on our club mission. So again, different questions in this category. Guests are greeted warmly and made to feel welcome. You are planning enjoyable and educational meetings. You are regularly scheduling social events. I know that this is something that a lot of clubs, especially ones down in Milwaukee area, that they're missing out on because of the virtual situation. I forget which club it is that was it Waukesha, one of those out there, that after the meeting, they would head on over to get some ice cream at Culver's, that they would continue that social interaction and build up their relationships. Do you encourage and do your members actually participate in the area, division, district, and international events? Do you encourage participation between the different clubs, other clubs that are in your area or in your division? And here's a good one. Does your club update a newsletter? I'm guessing most don't at this point, but what about the website? How often is your website published and updated? Next category is program planning and meeting organization. We need to look at whether or not your club meetings are being carefully planned, and are they planned with well-prepared speakers and useful evaluations? Are you publicizing your program and your agenda ahead of time? Do your members, when they are signed up for a role, do they know that role and how to carry out that assignment? Are you making sure that all of the speeches that they are all projects from Pathways? Are you ensuring that your meetings begin and end on time? Table topics. I love table topics. Are they creative? And do you have other activities that get the attendees excited and want to be there and not want to leave? And are you giving positive and helpful evaluations to help our members improve? The next area is our membership strength. You need to talk about and think about whether your club's number of members, is it sufficient enough to provide the leadership in your club, but also to fill all of your meeting and committee assignments? If they're not, means you're struggling. And we want to make sure that you are looking at, here in this moments of truth, you want to evaluate your membership building and retention practices. Charter strength, we've heard this over and over again. Charter strength is a club with 20 or more members. Yes, you can have a very efficient, a very effective club meeting with fewer than 20 members. But it's so much better, in my opinion, when you do have that full 20 members. Maybe you have a longer meeting. One of my clubs, we can normally have 5 speakers, each giving a 5 to 7 minute speech and the evaluations, and at least 6 people participate in table topics. It's a wonderful opportunity. In our membership strength, we always talk about in our DCP, our Distinguished Club Program, we always talk about bringing in new members, but are we retaining our current members? Are we meeting their needs? Because their goals have probably changed from a year or two ago, why they initially joined your club, to what they are today. Are you promoting your club within the community? Or if it's a corporate club, are you promoting it within your organization? Are you offering programs that are varied and exciting, or are they very monotone, serious? They just kind of drag on and you really don't want to be there. Are you recognizing and sponsoring those new members? So if Cindy has brought in Craig as a new member into her club, is Cindy being recognized as Craig's sponsor? And do you all participate in our membership building campaigns? We've got the 3 main ones from Toastmasters International that we're all quite familiar with because we promoted through our district. But how many of you participate in that individual membership building campaign? That's our 4th one. We don't bring a lot of attention to it. The last area for evaluation in moments of truth is the achievement recognition. This is where we want to evaluate our club's performance regarding the tracking of every member's educational progress. We want to make sure that there is an immediate submission of the completed education awards, and we want to have consistent recognition of our achievements. You don't want to do one thing for one person and something completely different for someone else. Submitting our awards, and now it's that 2-step process. And we've always had the 2-step process before Pathways, but it's different. So people think it's extra now, but you approve in Basecamp and you improve in Club Central. Do you have a way to share the progress charts of how your members are doing in reaching their goals? Do you formally recognize your member achievements, both within Toastmasters and outside Toastmasters? That could be a nice way to have that warm, fuzzy feeling with your members because you are aware of what they are doing outside of Toastmasters. Do you recognize your club, area, division, district, and international leaders when they are at a meeting? Do you, again, this kind of ties in with a formal recognition with ceremony, but are you publicizing your club achievements, your member achievements? Do you have your website? Do you have your Facebook? Do you have other social media? Are you using those mediums to promote your achievements? And are you using that Distinguished Club program to help you for your planning and recognition? All things to be thinking about. I mentioned earlier that Toastmasters International, they have several different documents. And at the end of the presentation, I do have the links to each of these. So their Moments of Truth handout actually goes through all 6 of these sections. And what they ask for is that for each of the questions that we just talked about, they want you to actually rank each item on a scale of 1 to 5. 1, we never meet this standard. 5, we always meet this standard. And then add them up and da 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 da. To me, gets a little tedious. Of course, I want the easy way, and that's what I'm offering to you. Yes or no? Simple as that for your questions. Is your answer yes, or is it no? So on our first impressions, are our guests greeted warmly and introduced to officers and members? Yes, they are. Boom. Are guest books and name tags provided? No. Why not? Well, we're meeting virtually. That's not going to happen right now. Professionally arranged meeting room. Yes, because our club, yeah, we're meeting in person. We're in a corporate room. It looks beautiful, but no, we're still not providing guest books and name tags. So it's a much easier way if you're kind of unsure, guests invited to address the club. Well, I guess sometimes we do, not always. You're kind of hedging on this. Anytime when there is hesitation, you can't right away answer yes or no. Your answer is going to be no. Think of that. So no. And are your guests invited to join? No. So my suggestion is to you, when you take these questions in these categories, yes, no, for all of them, give a sheet for each one of these categories and hand them out to each of your officers, to each of your members. If you have a guest, maybe they want to participate. It's kind of interesting to have a guest participate in moments of truth because they'll only have tiny bit of information because they'll see how things have been conducted during that meeting. So once you have all of your tallies from everyone, you want to actually tally it up. So in this example here, the first impressions, we have 17 responses. Question 1, 6 people said yes. Our guests greeted warmly and introduced to officers and guests. And no, 9 of them said no. That's quite a bit of difference. And now that's actually going to be something for discussion. Why do you feel that they're greeted and why do you feel that they're not? Where's that disconnect? And is that something that we could have room for improvement? Again, 15 yes, 2 no. Overwhelming yes, we provide the guest books and name tags. Maybe we forgot that 1 or 2 meetings and that's why those people put down a no. So again, it gives you a snapshot of where your members, what they think about your club and where it's going. Now, this is what I want you to think about, is that you want to focus on the questions that have the most no answers. And if it's an evenly split, then again, you want to have that discussion. But if you're already doing some of this and you're doing it well, there's no need to spend and focus your time on it. You want to keep doing what you're doing because you are doing it well. That's your strength. But if you're not doing something, you're not bringing in the guests, you're not greeting them, we need to look at making changes. And that's where we're now going to move into the next portion. Once we have all of our answers for all 6 of the sections, I am suggesting that you break into 6 different groups. One group is going to focus on each of these areas. When you get into that room, a separate table, so if you're doing this virtually, probably have a breakout room for each one. If you're meeting in your actual meeting room, maybe you send them to the 6 corners in your room and let them start brainstorming. For every one of your no answers that you want to come up with, give them 5 minutes. Whiteboard, Word document, whatever it is. Write down all of your ideas of what you can do to turn a no into a yes. This is not the place for the discussion if this is a good or bad idea. Well, that didn't work at that club, so we can't do that here. We're not doing that. This is brainstorming. Come up with as many different ideas, off the wall ideas. It doesn't matter. And then, this is just a sampling. I just kind of threw stuff out here. Different ideas based on the 3, numbers 1, 5, and 6. So here we go, last one. Give guests Starbucks or McDonald's gift cards for attending. Again, weird out there type of idea, but we've got a bunch of different things. You have 5 minutes, everybody in their group. Now let's switch them up. So we want to rotate everyone every 5 minutes. So all of your members have the opportunity to put down their own ideas for each of these 6 different categories. Don't read over the ideas that are already there. Don't start thinking, oh, well, they've got it already. Put down all of your ideas. Make it a nice, long, huge, growing list, because now that we've got that, we can move on. So this part of the exercise should take about 35 minutes when we have 6 teams at about 5 minutes each. Now, here's an interesting look at this. At this point, you got your ideas written down. Yeah, this is what we could do. This is where our Moments of Truth manual ends from Toastmasters International. And this is where we need to start to go beyond. And I think this is our downfall. I don't think members really realize we need to do something beyond what Toastmasters offers for our Moments of Truth. So I'm actually going to read you the instructions from the international program. For the first Moment of Truth, ask the teams to discuss each standard rated a 3 or lower. Ask the team to share their recommendations, use a flip chart to record recommendations, and repeat this process for the remaining 5 Moments of Truth. Boom. It goes into their conclusion. Now you know you've got different areas to work on. Not going to happen. We need something more. So this is where going beyond. Now we want to bring back the entire team together. You could either do it in the same meeting or you can have a separate meeting. Depends on the length of time, what you want to spend on this. But you want to now review all of those different ideas in that category. Maybe you do have ideas that are similar. Let's lump them together. Maybe we need to get more details on something. Well, okay, somebody mentioned printing out a name tag at every meeting. Tell us a little bit more. How would we print out a name tag? If everybody seems to think that, oh, this idea is absolutely phenomenal, star that. So now you've got all of your starred ideas. Your great ideas are identified, but now we're going to need to go further. Here's that sample list of ideas, and I starred a whole bunch of them because those are the ones that, as a group, my group decided this is what they want to focus on. But we need to think beyond, oh, this is a great idea. How do we turn that idea into a goal? We have to set our SMART goals: specific, measurable, achievable, or attainable, depending on which chart you're looking at, realistic, and time-bound. We need to have the discussion now for each of these ideas. Who is going to take the lead on this idea? Your officers can't always do everything. We need our members to step up and help out. One of the things when we look at the SMART goals, is it realistic? What are our resources? Do we have the time available? So if you have a great idea, but if nobody wants to step up and take charge of it, you can't do it. Save it for future reference, because potentially next year, somebody would want to do it. One example of this, I forget, a couple years ago, Cream City, one of the ideas that had come up under the fellowship category. Well, we should go out to nursing homes and we should do storytelling and do our speeches, and we have a captive audience that they want to hear different things. Great idea. Everybody absolutely loved it. Who wants to take charge and coordinate this? Crickets. Nobody. Not even the person who had the idea. I said, okay, we're going to move on. We're not going to do this. But that's a really good idea. We need to do this. Yeah, but none of our officers have the time to do this. Nobody here wants to volunteer and go out and do this. How are we supposed to do something if nobody wants to do it, even though it is a good idea? Some of the ideas, they're going to take money. Do you have that in your club budget to actually purchase something if it's if that's what you want. So if it's not I'm going to call it a doable goal, a reachable goal, drop it for now, save it for future reference, and you need to move on. Now you've got your list of goals, and your ideas have turned into goals. Maybe you can't do it all this year. So in those 6 categories, we ended up with 27 fantastic ideas we could potentially put into goals. But we can't concentrate on 27 new things to do in our club to make improvements. So now we're going to prioritize. These are the 1, 2, 3, 4 things we know we can make changes in this year to make a better impression on our guests. And we can start working on numbers 5, 6, 7 in the first quarter of our next Toastmasters year. We want to incorporate these new ideas into our club success plan because we know next year the trio is going to ask for our club success plan. Well, now we already have our starting point of what we want to focus on. If our focus is to update our website on a monthly basis, we know how we can watch that. We know who is going to be accountable for doing that. We know that that is something we will put in as a goal on our club success plan. And at the end of the year, oh, wow, we actually had 4 new people join our club because they said they looked at our website and it was current and up to date. And the 2 other clubs that they looked at for their websites, they hadn't been updated in over 2 years. Are they doing anything special now? They're not showcasing it. I want to be in a club that's doing something now. So now, when you go back to our ideas that we shared, again, moving into a breakout room and explaining the agenda and the meeting roles. All right, let's designate when we have guests show up, VP of PR, going to go into a separate breakout room with that guest or multiple guests. If the VP of PR isn't at that meeting, we've already designated 2 other members who would be able to go in and do that. And you go through each of those. We got to the idea. Everyone loved this idea. We want to give our guests when they come Starbucks or McDonald's gift card for attending. Uh-oh, our budget only has $27 in it. What happens if we get 4 guests and we want to give them each a $3 gift card? No, that's not realistic. So the idea may be good, but putting it into action may not work out. So that's one way that you can go beyond moments of truth. And some people want more, or they want it different. Another way that you can look at all of your brainstorming ideas, you can pull that in and do a SWOT analysis. Most of you have probably heard this: your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. Your strengths are those internal attributes that are helpful for your club. When we look at our pathways evaluations, what are the strengths of that speaker that we want them to continue doing well? What are the weaknesses? What are our internal attributes that are harmful to the club? Do we have all brand new members? They don't know what to do in their roles. During the meeting, they don't know how to do an officer role. We need more training. That's something that we can work on and improve. Opportunities. These are things outside of our club that are potential that we can enhance and do good for our club. Speaking opportunities. Oh, Andy, he's a member. He's with Rotary. He can get us set up so that we can start bringing in some of our speakers to present at Rotary. Gives them more opportunities to practice speaking. That's a good thing. Now people are asking, where'd you learn to speak so well? Oh, at my Toastmasters Club. Why don't you come and visit? Here's the information. And we have our threats. These are those external elements that can be harmful for our club. Maybe you're located in an area where everybody just got laid off and everybody is scrambling and saving every penny, they can't afford the $90 a year for their membership anymore. Your officers, you've had the same 6 officers doing dual roles for the last 6 years, and you've gotten 1 new member in during that time. They're ready to walk. You could lose the club. SWOT analysis is just one more example to look at your moments of truth. First impressions, membership orientation, fellowship variety and communication, program planning and meeting organization, membership strength, and achievement recognition. Think about it. You never get a second chance to make a first impression. What impression are you making on your potential members and your current members? I'm going to encourage all of you to go back to your clubs and conduct a moments of truth at least once a year. Make sure that you are taking advantage of every opportunity you can to make a good impression when a guest comes into contact with Toastmasters. You want to renew this focus on our club, and then all of our members can benefit. Conducting this program, it's going to help you sustain the quality club that you need and want and deliver the best possible member experience. I truly believe that clubs that embrace and use the moments of truth are better able to help their members accomplish their goals, which in turn helps the club meet their goals. Do a moments of truth. And here's a bonus. I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to the district incentives program. If your club completes a moments of truth this year by the end of March and submits the results and information, your different ideas, your SMART goals, submit that to the trio, you get, I think it's $20 or $25 in district dollars. If you ask your area director or another member of the deck who is not a member of your club to come and facilitate, because sometimes having a completely objective person facilitate this session for you at your club, you get additional district dollars. Go check out the incentive programs. This is the link for, or the different links for the resources that I was referencing. I will have, I believe Keith has a running list of the participants. If you're not sure if he has that, drop me a private message in the chat with your email. I will make sure that I email you this presentation along with the different handouts. That is the end of my prepared moments of truth. I hope you got a few different ideas and you're ready to go back and go beyond moments of truth. And at this time, we are going to transition into our Q&A session. And Keith, though, you wanted to verify if it was okay to record the Q&A.
Yeah. First, I'd like to say thank you, Kris, for that presentation. A lot of valuable information there that folks may not have seen before. And you certainly were able to offer a lot of perspective from your past experience. So thank you very much for that. Yes, so if, as Kris mentioned, we're recording the presentation portion of our session in these biweekly settings. We'd now like to open it up for questions and answers. Is there anyone who would object to being recorded, either visually or audibly? If you are, that's okay. We'll just okay. Thanks, Polly. Okay. Yeah. If it's okay if you are. All right. So I'm getting some thumbs up. So that's good. We certainly don't want to inhibit open conversation. So obviously, if you have questions relative to your specific club, probably best not in this format anyway. We can address that offline. But so good, Jason. Let's just keep going with the recording. Thank you. All right. So we've as I mentioned earlier, we've got a wealth of experienced Toastmasters here, and I know many of them have experience running moments of truth in their club, but I'd like to start out by asking any of the club members, and obviously we're all club members, but if you're not one of the coaches in this session and you intended to get some information out of it, what questions might you have, or maybe some past experience that you've had with moments of truth that we can talk about tonight?
Don't all talk at once.
All right.
Okay, I have a
Dick's.
question
Go ahead, Dick.
for Kris. That the clubs that are here are coach eligible, so that means they're 12 or under, and that means probably 6 or 7 show up at a meeting, and you talk about the process dividing into 6 groups and that type of thing. Do you have a suggestive alternative process if you're going through moments of truth and there's only 5 or 6 people at the meeting, how to go about the evaluation process?
I would still do it similar. Instead of doing your breakout rooms, let's just do everybody. Okay, we have got our whiteboard. First impressions. What are your ideas? Shout them out. And we still have it limited to 5 or 6 minutes, or if people are really coming up with lots and lots of ideas, spend a little bit more time. If they've clammed up after about 2 minutes because they're tapped out on ideas, all right, let's move to the next one. And then, all right, now let's talk about the feasibility of these different ideas. And now this is where it can get sticky for those smaller clubs, because they're the ones that are so limited in their resources. They're the ones that are already tapped out and burned out. How do you need to start reaching out? This is that inner club activities. Do they reach out and try and do a joint meeting and try and have a full meeting with 15, 16 people? Because now I've reached out. My club's at 8 members right now. Your club is at 8 members. You normally only get 5 or 6 who attend. Well, let's combine and have at least 10 people between the 2 clubs show up, and let's promote that with our guests. Especially for meeting virtually, we both meet on the same night. One's normally at 6, one's at 6:30. So we're adjusting it. But now you give the guests that contact information, which club, you have a choice of where you would like to actually go and join. Because if you start to think about maybe in the next few months or within a year, we go back to in person. Yeah, virtual for Century Club would be perfect right now. But if you go in person, I don't want to be a part of that club. But Plymouth Club, they're virtual right now too, but if they go back to in person, they're only 5 minutes away. But online, I really like both of them. So again, sometimes you have to play with it. There's no absolute answer, unfortunately.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Has anyone had any experience with those members who don't come regularly, but you still want their opinion? So if you did a moments of truth and said, hey, let's everyone try to get to that meeting, and you still only have 50% attendance, has anyone tried mailing out a form? And then what's been some of your experience? I see Jason's got his hand up. Jason, would you like to share?
Yeah, one of the things that one of my clubs has found very good success with is we turned the moments of truth first part into a survey that we mail to all of the club members in advance. And then the officers compile that data, bring that data to the meeting, and then we spend the meeting focused on what Kris was talking about, the brainstorming and then narrowing down the ideas rather than using the meeting to gather the data. And then by doing that, we're getting people that can't necessarily come to the meeting, maybe somebody that hasn't come for a while, and we keep track of who's responded and kind of prod a little bit, trying to give people 2 or 3 weeks even to respond, to get as much input as we possibly can. We found some good success with that. And then too, because our meeting is, my main club is a corporate club, we're time boxed to 50 minutes. we can spend that 50 minutes being as productive as we possibly can, talking about, brainstorming and actionable ideas.
Great. Teresa, you had your hand up too. Did you have some experience with mail-in moments of truth?
Different surveys, like you could either do SurveyMonkey, you could do a Doodle form or a Google form. You get it out to all your different members to see what they're most interested in and put in a little text box to make sure that they can add their ideas and suggestions. And this also allows, even if people attend the meeting, if there's a member who has a really strong personality, it still allows those additional suggestions to shine through. So rather than, just basing everything verbally, you've got that additional input from email.
And Cindy just put a note in the chat that you can do a module, a meeting, 2 modules, a meeting, etc. So you can flex your time as needed. Maybe you get all of your different ideas and then your executive team gets together and combines the different ideas and puts, marks down which ones are feasible and then brings them back to the club members. Okay, now help us prioritize. So again, you can do this. It does not have to all be done at one time. So if you do have to be creative and do it over email, however it may be, you want to get the best input, the best ideas, and the best goals for your club. Because hopefully all of your members want the club to succeed and do better.
I really like Jason's idea, because I would think the answers to the question from people that have stopped coming to the meetings would be more insightful than the ones that come to meetings. The ones that come to the meeting are happy with everything and are happy with the way things are. The ones that haven't been coming, we can find out why they aren't coming and get a truer sense of how we need to improve our club, so people will look forward to coming to meetings. So I like that, going out to all the members. I think that's an excellent idea.
I'll add to Dick, and for all, we do use that opportunity sometimes to ask them some other things too.
Okay, yeah.
If they, we've considered changing times and things like that. Would there be a better time? We've used those the moments of truth survey to ask some of those types of questions as well.
Thank you.
Can I throw something on there quick?
Go ahead, Rob.
Most people who came into the club, and most clubs I've been in, came in because they know somebody else in the club. So there are like points of contact in the club for various people. And what I've seen clubs do to some pretty great success too is leverage those points of contact to get feedback like this. So if somebody's not replying to the email the VPE is sending out, well, they got in the club because their buddy who does show up at meetings suggested they should be part of it. So if you leverage said buddy in getting feedback from them or in figuring out what the heck is going on, sometimes using those in-person relationships is more effective than the easy broadcast email.
Okay, great questions. Anyone have a different way that they've tried moments of truth that has worked for them? Teresa Flynn.
I didn't actually do it. One of my VPEs did it, Jackie Breezer, and she called it Stop, Keep, Start. So we went through the 6 points of contact and we talked a little bit about what our club was doing already. Should we keep it? Is this a good investment in our time and our energy? What else could we do? Stop, keep it, or start? And we went through the whole list. It took us about 45 minutes, so there were no other speakers that evening, but we had a good turnout that evening, so a lot of good voices were heard, and we came up with some really good ideas for how to change in the short term. So it worked out really well. And if you just sit there and go through, you devote only about 2 or 3 minutes to each chunk, and you just allow the ideas to flow, have somebody write everything down coherently. It's a really great way to get things moving.
Yeah,
Can I just say too, we've used start, stop, continue as a per meeting module. The two ideas that were suggested here, doing a little bit per meeting and doing something simple. If you use start, stop, continue as a per meeting module, you can get done with one whole section in like 5 minutes and you get some useful feedback.
Okay. Has anybody tried to do moments of truth and it's just fallen flat? Sometimes we can learn from failure too, right? I'm not saying any of us has ever failed, but
At one of my clubs, this was done in August. Somebody, that club was trying to do a moment of truth over a course of several meetings, and somebody did a brief presentation. But I think that club has a core group of members that attends, and it felt ambitious enough through it and continue over the following several meetings, but then it kind of went almost forgotten because a core group of people is only for 6, and somehow it just kind of got sort of forgotten, I guess, which is no shame in that. At the same time, it's difficult to sustain that almost, I don't know, call it some kind of work that is when you have people, I don't know, having 1,000 things in their mind. And today we're going to talk about membership retention. It can be difficult when putting things in perspective to, I suppose, members' lives or what they have coming into the meeting. I just kind of took that away and I'd like to go back to that club and suggest to them something they can try again.
Yeah, I'll say in my 25 plus years in Toastmasters and doing moments of truth, participating in moments of truth, probably the greatest failure I've seen is what happens after moments of truth. And a common problem is biting off more than you can chew, right? So you're in the moment, you're in the session, you're kind of in the moment, so to speak, and you kind of get excited about the things that we're going to do in this club, and people have actions that they walk away from, and if you have anything more than 2 or maybe 3 things that you're going to undertake at a time, the chances are you're not going to do any of them, and you're going to fail miserably. So I guess that would be my counsel: is make it manageable. You know, pick something that you know you can do and focus on as a club.
And that's where 2 keys. You prioritize what you can do. You've got 20 great ideas, but we can only do these 3 or 4 right now. But we can add on to those in the next year and the year after. So yeah, you're building up your success plan for now and in the future.
Can I ask a question to Kris? Hey, Kris. So we're talking about, obviously things fall apart over time. That's just kind of a thing with Toastmasters. But obviously you've been in some clubs that are pretty successful. Do you have any tips for keeping people motivated to stick with these plans that you've made during this moments of truth, and keep people kind of motivated to keep executing on what they decided?
We pull it into our club success plan. And at our officer meetings, we review our club success plan. Are we doing this? Are we not doing this? The year that Pathways was introduced, we had to completely change all of our goals that year because we had to change and shift our focus. So because of that, I mean, everything went out the window. We had to create new goals to incorporate it. When we know that, as we review our current club success plan with all these goals, updating our website monthly. Yep, actually, we're doing that 3 times a month. Are we doing at least 3 Facebook posts a month? Yep, we actually have a social media calendar, and we've got a plan for each of our 7 officers to submit 2 posts that can go out every every week. So that's a minimum of our 14 posts, and our VP of PR, she likes to do a whole bunch of extra ones. So we're meeting all of these goals. So it's just a quick recap. Yep, we've done this, we've met this. Okay, we really need to focus on this new idea. We keep talking about it. We put it out there that we wanted to have an open house. We keep pushing it off. We keep pushing it off. Is this something we're actually going to do this year? Are we going to have our people invest in this? Are we going to promote it? Or are we going to drop this from one of our goals? Because that happens. I know Cindy had her hand up, and then I see Tom's hand up.
Okay, Cindy. Let's
Oh,
start with
just-
Cindy.
We were talking about what could we do wrong, and one thing that I used to have happen at my workplace is they'd survey the heck out of us, and we'd give them tons of feedback, and then we were like, what did you do, right? We felt like nothing changed. So with Moments of Truth, the way, and you can do it in person in breakout room style, or if you're physically in person, papers on the wall kind of concept, you write it, and when it's done, you do what's called a gallery walk, and you can do it in breakout rooms as well. A gallery walk is when each person walks up to each one and gives pluses or minuses to what's important to them. And then when you step back and you look at that, you're like, that is what's really important to our club. Then we would take that and put that on a big spreadsheet and rank it. And when this one was done, we'd put it down here. And so it's commit to do, like you said, Keith, 2 things and then do 2 more. But take it and then do it.
Thanks, Cindy. Tom, you had a comment or question? You're on mute.
You're on mute.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Keith, I have a question for you. Approximately, how many clubs are in District 35?
For me, I think one of the trio could tell you that. I think it's somewhat short of 90 paid clubs right now. Somebody give me the exact number. Is it
89
89 clubs.
material. Of that number, how many are on this section tonight? That need club growth. That need Moments of truth.
I see 11. Now, okay. So some of us who are coaches are probably also in clubs that are coach eligible.
I'll rephrase my question. Out of the 100 clubs approximately in District 35, am I correct that there's about 60% that have fewer than 15 or 12 members?
12, yeah, that's correct.
So 60% of 100, there should be 60 people attending this session tonight.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Then the question is, what is this program that runs through into the month of May doing to get the message out to those 60 clubs that are not here tonight?
Okay, so what have we done and what will we do moving forward are 2 different things. What we have done up to this point, we've publicized 2 emails to club presidents. I addressed the deck meeting last Saturday, and the request was for the area directors to take and cascade that message to their clubs. We did Facebook, LinkedIn. Am I missing anything? I think those are district calendar, obviously, yeah.
And we invited all clubs, not just those clubs that are eligible for coaches.
That's right. Yeah.
And we will be building a new page on the district website specific for this club coach virtual training session. Where we'll be putting out the whole agenda. We'll be doing all of the links and the recorded presentations out there, because not everybody's even available during this time. So you can get the info.
Can we isolate or make a list of the club addresses that are in need of increasing your membership to a number greater than 8?
Yeah, you can go get that information off a TI report.
So if that could be made available to each one of the presenters, I think there are 16 presenters.
Mhm.
So if today, if Kris could have sent a personal email message to those 60 some clubs that are in need of growth, maybe we would get a few of them to have attended tonight in the next 12 or 15 programs. That's my marketing idea.
Okay, so you think it would be more effective coming from a member of the trio rather than myself?
I would like to have received a personal email from Kris encouraging my club the president of my club to encourage the members of my club to attend the meeting that we're holding tonight.
Okay.
Because Kris gave a very valuable program and it was well thought out and not enough people got that message.
I would agree with you on that.
My club has varied in membership from 10 to 30. We are presently at about, I think, 10 or 11. So we're a long ways away from 20. And I'd like to see us get back up to 30. But as a member, I did not receive any encouragement from my club president or any officer to attend this meeting tonight.
Okay. Good. We have some work to do then.
I have one quick comment here. Something I've learned over 40 years in Toastmasters. I never judge an event by how many people show up. I judge an event for those that showed up or are glad they came, and I have to compliment you on a fine program. I learned a lot today. So thank you.
Good. Thank you. All right. I do want to be respectful of time. We said we were going to keep this to 1 hour. As Tom mentioned, we certainly have more work to do to get more folks to attend and participate. The next session will be in 3 weeks because we have a 5th Sunday this month. It's going to be February 6th. And Mark, you can correct me if I'm misspeaking, but I think we got Mark Robinson lined up to present on the topic of finding new members for your club. And Mark, if that's not the case, let me know and we'll get you into another. Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we had originally hoped to get him in on this meeting, but you know we had some schedule conflicts, so we're glad that Kris could present. I think Moments of Truth was really a great topic to begin these series of discussions on, and Mark will take us forward. And moving forward, we are going to publish what the topic is for each one of the given events, and finally, as Kris mentioned, we will be posting this on the district website, the recording of it. So I'd like to thank all of the coaches that agreed to participate and showed up today. Your input was very valuable, and for those of you in the clubs, I hope you got something out of it. Please spread the word, get some other members from your club to attend, and hopefully we'll see you back here in 3 weeks. Thanks, everyone.